In today's special episode, we're going to be taking this beautiful Cincinnati shaper and bringing it back to life. In order to do this, I've assembled a team of my favorite people to tear into this beast. Over the next 2 days, we're going to do whatever it takes to clean, inspect, and repair any of the machine's issues. This is not a restoration, but purely a mechanical revival, so we can take this thing from a paperweight and turn it into a moneymaker. Now let's take this machine, bring it into the center of the room, and get started.
Hi, my name's Greg, and I'm a software engineer from Northeast Ohio. In my free time, I have a small hobby machine shop at home where I focus on reconditioning and rebuilding vintage metalworking machines from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. I love bringing these old machines back to life and giving them a new purpose. There's just something satisfying about restoring the kind of craftsmanship that's just not found in modern machinery. I'm really excited to get this shaper up and running and starting to make some chips over the next couple of days.
Hi, my name is Landon Thomas, and I own a research and development company here in Chicago that specializes in making reactors for growing diamond and graphene materials for nuclear fusion and spacecraft applications. I cannot wait to help get this machine into action.
Hi, I'm Zach from Chicago. I'm a software engineer as my day job, and I run a small manufacturing business on the side doing niche part prototyping and reverse engineering work. It started as just a hobby, but I happened to meet some people that were rebuilding electrical equipment and couldn't source OEM parts anymore, so it grew into something that's able to support itself over time. I love the history of old machines, and I'm really excited to be working on this shaper with Kyle and team.
Hey, I'm Danny. I run a small company as a machine tool rebuilder in Chicago, Illinois. I like working on the big, old, weird manual equipment that no other service tech really wants to touch. Problem solving and learning new things is always a part of the job, and I've never worked on a shaper, so this will be enlightening to say the least. I've heard that shapers can make anything but money, so I'm looking forward to Kyle debunking this myth.
Hi, my name is Michael Lewis. I'm a test engineer for a heavy equipment company. Today, I'm here to help my buddy Kyle work on his shaper. Ever since I've known Kyle, I've seen it kind of sitting in the background and always wondered what it would be like to see it working. Super stoked to help him today and get it up and running.
Hi folks, my name is Stefano. I'm a software engineer and I've been around machine tools for many years. I have a soft spot for test and measurement equipment and I collect lots of it. I'm also the creator and maintainer of the Dr. Dro project, and I'm here to help out Kyle with the restoration of this beautiful shaper. If all goes well, I'm hoping to install one of my DROs on this beautiful machine and use it to cut splines and gears.
Identify some things that they think are wrong with it. I'm going to give you guys a piece of paper, and I want you guys to work together and create a list of everything that you can see that is wrong with it.
So we're gonna be replacing these crunchy old belts here. You can see they're pretty old and in need of some love. So that's the first thing. Also inside the machine, we have some disconnected oil lines here. Copper compression. We're just gonna get those reconnected and hope that they pass oil okay.
So we're on the other side of the shaper, and as you can see, it's really dirty. So that doesn't bode well for parts of the machine that move quite a bit. And the RAM is a part of the machine that moves the most frequently and the fastest. So it's really dirty. It's also a little bit scored, and there's no wipers on the RAM. And also there's no wipers on other parts of the machine that move linearly. So I'd like to not have to pull the RAM if we don't have to. I prefer to take the path of least resistance, so we're gonna clean it up really well, stone it, make sure it's getting good oil, put new wipers on, probably try to run it, see if it moves and how it moves, and then make some decisions from there. But yeah, RAM cleaning, lubrication, stoning it really well, new wipers.
So this shaper has what's called a universal table on it. So which means this table can rotate and it can also tilt this way. And likelihood is that these are all probably seized up. They may not have been moving for a while. And there's all sorts of lubrication lines that go through it. So one of the other things that we want to do with this machine is get this table working so that we can actually rotate it and we can tilt the top of it to any angle that we need.
Over the last month, I've done my best to inspect the shaper, try to find all the small little obvious issues, so that way we could go ahead and order any of the parts that I think we might need for today's extravaganza. So let me walk you through some of the parts that we ordered and what the purpose is going to be for each of them. Obviously, issues are going to pop up, but I want it to be as covered as possible so we can efficiently fix this machine. Let me start from left to right and give you a quick explanation of what we got. So we have a really fine filter mesh. There's a little viewing window on the shaper where the oil pours back into, and that should be blocked with some mesh. And we went ahead and ordered this. The oil will be able to enter through this and keep the debris out. Right next to those, we have a fresh set of belts. The belts on the shaper look a little rough, and that's a cheap way to make sure the machine runs quiet and you have consistent tension on the belts. Continuing on, we bought 2 new oil filters for the machine. Now the machine has a pressurized oil system, which is excellent. Some of the older ones are drip fed, and there is currently a stock oil filter that is proprietary. I could not locate it, so we ordered 2 filters to see if either of them will work. They have the same length, but the diameters are a little bit different. It's a cartridge style filter in there now. So worst case, we'll clean up the old one, but I thought I would order these in advance, because if we can put a new oil filter in there, that'll just prolong the life. Speaking of oil, one of the most obvious issues was this old gauge on the shaper was damaged by me. A long time ago when we brought it in, we needle scaled it and destroyed the face of this gauge. So we ordered another gauge. It's an old style, and so I think it'll look good. We also ordered 2 new oil lines. There's 2 flexible lines on the machine that are in really rough shape, and we got the proper fittings to adapt them. Due to the age of the machine, I wasn't able to get the one-piece lines with the proper ends, so we have a couple adapters, but that should work out fine. We are missing a handle on the machine. It's a 5/8 drive. I found this one on eBay. It does fit on most of the areas, but there's one area for the stroke where this is a little short. So we may have to make a handle, but that'll give us a jump start. I also went ahead and stocked this full of brass fittings. We do need to adjust some things on the oil system, so I wanted to make sure we had pretty much all the options so we could be efficient with that. Continuing on with the oil, I have both sizes of oil line. This machine uses 1/4 inch and 3/16, so we have extra oil line if we need it. I also ordered up some felt because I'm sure the way wipers are smoked, and I do have some extra rubber over on my bench. In addition to that, we have the proper oil, which is the ISO 46, and a nice little oil cart. And thank you to Josh for donating the tooling for the shaper. We have some high-speed blanks. They're Momax, 1 inch. We have 1 inch by half, and then some 3/4 by 3/4 and some smaller stuff. So with all of these materials, hopefully this will give us a little bit of a leg up, and we can make some good progress on the machine.
What I was trying to figure out is what did we need to do to tilt the face and rotate the table. And there's 2 nuts over here that have to be loosened first to tilt the face. Let me grab that handle. And then this handle is used then to tilt the face. There's a degree graduation here on the edge of it, so you can set it at whatever angle. it's pretty rough. I mean, it's in 1 degree increments. If you need to get tighter, you'd have to indicate it in. And then the front of this thing, there's 4 bolts here that when you loosen those up, and Danny found a square drive that's actually underneath it that uses the same handle. That attaches underneath, and then that rotates the handle. And we were able to free those up, so those move. I don't want to move them too much just yet until we get a little bit more of this cleaned up. And once we get it cleaned up, we'll have to take a look too to see what lubrication lines are not working and get those squared away before we turn it on, because we want to make sure all the screws and everything that do move are lubricated.
I can get that from this side.
You just trying to get the tension off the belt?
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go. Sorry, I'm going back and forth, just working it in and out of the grooves. Yeah. We're just cleaning off the pulleys. They're pretty crusty. Try to keep the belt life high when we replace them with these brand new V-belts over here.
We got new belts for this?
Yeah.
Nice. I think we should check the clutch before we reassemble.
Yeah, that's what I was doing here. It's an EM clutch. It looks like it's got plenty of life on
It
it.
is electromagnetic.
Yeah.
The reason
Thank
I
you.
want to check it because the electrical panel has rectifiers and a transformer.
Yeah, I saw that.
Greg, well, what do you want to do? I see you're excited.
I don't want to touch it. Right. So it's plugged in, right?
It is plugged in. I don't know if. Let me get a meter. Let's see where the voltages are first to make sure. I still think about panel protection on this. So there's bolts in here. Let's see if we can turn on something. Careful, guys. Everybody around the motor over there?
Stand clear.
Oh, that was fun. Those bearings sound great.
If this comes from, okay, this comes from the rectifier, the other end goes over plus minus. I want to see, oh yeah, see it's powered through, the motor needs to be running for anything else to be running.
Yeah.
So we've been looking at the electrical so far, and we looked at the lubrication, just making sure that everything is in good shape and that matches what the design of the machine was originally. We found a small issue in the electrical panel. Looks like the low voltage circuit that controls the brake and the clutch is always turned on, and it shouldn't be. It should be running only when the motor is actually on. So we're going to leave it for now, but it's something me and Kyle are going to fix in the future.
We're working on the front of the shaper right now, and we've got a few people cleaning it, which takes time. And this is a pretty old machine, and we're not positive how mechanically things actually work and how it gets lubrication. So we're like cleaning some stuff, finding like oil plugs, being like, okay, trying to suss out like how this stuff all works together so we just have a better understanding of it. Get the slides set so that we don't have to worry too much, and it's maybe just more a concern of like setting the clutches, checking the lubrication, seeing what the transmission looks like to send power from the motor to all the drives for all the movements. So that's kind of where we're at. These ways, it's like a combination of box ways and a V-way, which I think is kind of cool. So these are box ways, and there's a dovetail. So there's a gib in the back.
There's a gib here too.
And there's a gib down there. So there might be a gib. I don't know if there's another gib on the bottom. No, this is all just clearance.
Yeah, there's oil on the bottom, oil lines.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. You got a lot of contact from this surface, the back surface, the front potentially. I don't know which of these are, what of these are clearances, but it's nice to see an older machine that has a lot of surface contact. More surface contact means more rigidity, and just a nice like stiff setup on a stout machine. So it's cool to see that stuff.
All right, I've been working on replacing these lines. As you can see, this one's pretty old and cracking. It's obviously not what we want, so we've got a new one, and we're getting the hoses all adapted so that they can screw right on.
We're currently working on cleaning out the boxways and it's actually an interesting combination of a boxway and a dovetail way for the table traverse X, Y, and Z. The ways were pretty crusty and grody, so we're getting those all cleaned out and getting the machine moving, and then we're going to assess how usable the gibs still are. The ways themselves are heavily scored and pitted, so that's going to be a decision that Kyle is going to have to make on how he wants to handle that.
Just working on getting some oil wiper covers off. We're just trying to clean out the Allen heads with a pick and then get them out of there without stripping them is kind of a challenge because they're really small. And then just basically trying to clean off all the rust and get everything broken free, all the Allens broken free, and then even if we're not taking it off, just get them at least broken free so if we have to take them off, we could get them off. But I guess that's about it.
All right, so this is the gib for the ram. We're on the back of the machine, and as you can see, it's the entire width of the actual way itself, and also the entire length. And on older machines like this, sometimes the gibs are actually stationary. So the gib gets bolted up to this stud, and obviously the ram strokes. On other machines, the gib travels with the actual moving part, but in this case, this is stationary. And we're seeing like a good amount of scoring. It's not terrible, but it's the kind of thing that we should probably stone all this out, because in that scoring, you'll get little burrs that get lifted up. And these cross marks were more or less original scraping. I don't think on machines like this, they scrape them to a really tight tolerance. A lot of companies that manufactured older stuff like this, I don't want to say it was more or less ornamental, but I think the scraping on this was never super tight, and which isn't a big deal, because for a machine like this, it does primarily one motion of travel. So I think what we're gonna do is clean this all up, stone this surface really well. The back of the gib doesn't have any wear because it's stationary. So it's obviously dirty, but it's pretty smooth. Here we have an oil line, so it travels, the lubrication comes from the back of the gib, it travels to the front, and through this oil passage to lubricate the ways. Potentially that pump has gone bad and nothing's been getting oil for, we don't know how long. So yeah, right now we're just gonna clean this up and see if we can get that pump to work. Try to get some movement out of it and see where we end up.
This is actually WD, but WD-40, but it actually works really good for loosening up grease and oil and everything. So I'll kind of loosen it up with a WD-40 and then go back and wipe it off with degreaser.
I'm gonna say some stuff in a minute. Are there any major things
Up the vise, used the surface conditioner on it, and was able to knock off a lot of the surface rust. Still got to get down in these edges, or down in these grooves, but I think it'll clean up pretty good. And I still got to do the movable jaw. So yeah, it's coming along.
Same size as the hole, and you know.
Okay, this is gonna be like negative drama here. I was really kind of hoping that this would like have all sorts of fluid like that. Yeah, we got a little bit of water.
We got some water in the shaper gearbox, and that's not very good. Ideally, we'd take everything apart and we'd clean it thoroughly, but because of the time crunch, probably what we're going to do is we're gonna run a kerosene mix with hydraulic oil, run it, and then we're gonna go ahead and just keep filtering it out.
Why do you think it's a bad idea?
Well, if there is trash inside of the pump, you're gonna trash the pump. Then we need to make a new pump. I just want to argue with you.
Okay. I agree with you 100%. All right, we got conflict, right? Conflict makes interesting content.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, I've run kerosene through pumps before. If they're mechanical, it's not such a big deal.
I wonder, this is probably a gear pump. So
It's a gear pump.
Yeah,
not a
if
huge
it's a gear
deal.
pump, so I don't think it'd be a huge deal. We got Pigman over here too.
So basically right now, what we're trying to do is I want to move the whole ram towards me because right now the master side that it actually rides on, I want to just separate it a little bit, even just like a 16th, just so we can shoot some brake clean in there and flush it out really well. Because if they're mated, like if there's two surfaces butted up next to each other like that, it's super hard to clean in between them. So I just want to separate them a little bit, shoot some brake clean, flush it out, blast it with air, and then we can bump it back up to that master, slide the gib in, throw some oil in it, and because I think we're just about ready to start to put power to it and see if we can get some stuff to move. So. Just want to shoot a little bit of oil.
Did we try rotating this table or not? Do you know?
Yeah, they got it to move.
The table is movable?
Yeah. Yeah, I think.
Over here, maybe.
Close.
Yeah, lift up a bit. Lift up a bit on that side. On the right side.
There it is.
You just gotta persuade it a little.
Okay, so do we need to cut these or?
I would cut them.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a grinder on the bench over there. We got the machine cleaned up, we did the disassembly we needed, and we got whatever we needed to get fixed, and we're ready to get this thing fired up. Next step is to go ahead and put the oil in the machine and make sure we have a good prime on the pump, and then after that we can go ahead and move the ram. Everyone's been working super hard, and I think we're where we need to be. So I'm super excited, so let's go ahead and get some oil in this bad boy. Sure, it'll take a lot to fill that up, so.
Probably want to see that. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, so we did the first fire up and everything seemed relatively quiet, but we're not building any oil pressure. To our knowledge, we have all the levels topped off, but there's one more reservoir that we want to add more fluid to, just to see if that's going to help. There's 3 separate reservoirs on this machine, and right now I think 2 out of the 3 are fully filled, so we're going to add some more oil and see if that makes a difference. And we'll need something over here in case that leaks oil. So someone got a drain pan or something?
think you're probably above me.
Absolutely right. Oh, actually, no. Some oil is there. So, yeah, it was starting to fill. This is a good sign.
It might take a minute to just
Look at this.
build pressure.
See, we got some oil there. Oh, haha, we got flow now. This would slide out.
No, look, the gear is entirely obstructed by the housing. Taking this off is going to be kind of a whole thing.
You might be right, yeah. So we
I
might
think
need to
you
take
would
this
have enough
off,
room
Take the
to
drive,
move it
take
out.
the drive pulley off and the clutches.
Yeah.
Take that gear off, and then this whole thing might slide off this way. I don't know. Is there a parts diagram in any of that stuff?
It's
Yeah, but it doesn't show you the disassembly or assembly.
Yeah, there's no room to slide it down. At the very least, that drive gear has to come off if you want to take this off. So we're still working on the oil pump. It wasn't giving any suction with the motor on, so we decided to try to give it some gravity-fed oil. Even with 90 PSI shop air helping it out, we still were not getting any real flow or pressure on the gauge. So now we're trying it with the ram moving and seeing if maybe the pump doesn't run with the motor as expected.
Look at that. Yeah, 20-30 PSI with this thin oil.
So what are we doing? We're adjusting the
I'm checking with the no stroke if we still build pressure, and we do. Yes, because I wanna have a reliable and safe way for us to prime the oil. This is how it should be.
Yep.
Always covered with oil. So for the newbies, it's important to not put your finger where the gears are. Okay, that's very important.
down there.
Yes. We got oil everywhere. That's what we wanted to see. Turns out that the manual is wrong. So manual says that you turn on the motor and oil starts going around and pressurizing on the machine. Well, that's not true. You need to have the clutch engaged. So unless something is trying to move, oil will not build pressure. So that's what we just realized, and we're all happy because this machine is dripping oil, and that's what you want to see. Not the pickup, it's the ram. And see, there is a line on top. That is where the oil comes out from. And if you look at this carefully right now, see that it's like a film of oil just being released by the pump. So that's what you want to have all the time. Because if this runs dry, it starts scoring. And if you look at this was, it's an old machine. It worked a lot as well. But if you had proper lubrication all the time, you wouldn't have any of these lines. Fresh oil, the right one this time, and then we're done.
So we need to do that.
I'll start cleaning up the white. So did we determine whether or not this pumping oil was without the clutch engaged?
No, it needs to be engaged.
Yeah.
So the documentation is wrong,
And
I
then
guess.
we need someone to work on the way wipers, right?
Yeah.
Take this back to 0.
Okay.
Yeah, keep it on 0 for now.
So
'cause
we need to do, we're doing felt or we're doing rubber?
at this point, we're gonna have to redo the wiper covers regardless, right?
Right.
We're gonna have to redo them because they're cracked, so.
Nice. Look how fast that drained that. You know how much time that saves us? What filter we got to run with the bigger one?
The one that works.
So we're getting a little bit closer to the final stages of running this. We had some temporary oil in the machine to kind of flush out all the oil passages, make sure everything was clean, make sure the pump was running. We did have some trouble getting the pump to prime. We have to manually prime it every time we take the filter out. But at this point, we've got all the old oil vacuumed out of the machine, and the rest of the crew there just put in a new filter in the filter housing. So pretty soon we're going to go ahead and fill it back up with some new oil, a little thicker oil, so it should operate a little bit better. The other thing that we've done is we put the way wipers on the front of the ram. This is what kind of keeps some of that oil from dripping off the front of the machine. and also keeps chips and stuff from getting onto the ram ways, because that could end up damaging the ways and causing a malfunction in the machine. And then the other thing is, you can see this long drip pan that's on the back of the machine. That's a guard, kind of keep people from running into the ram as it's coming back. And it'll also take some of that oil as it's dripping off of the ways and cycle it back into the body of the machine for it to be recycled. The filter is down here behind this cover, and the old filter was basically just a big piece of felt, and it did a pretty good job for the past 50 or 60 years of the age of this thing, but we're going to use something a little bit more modern. It's a little bit of a tight fit. It's a little bit longer than it needs to be, but it'll work. And this is the hose that we're using to prime it. So once we refill this, we'll take this hose and we'll manually fill it full of oil, and that primes the pump. And then once it's primed, the check valve will keep it primed, and then we can replace the hose with the proper pickup tube that'll go down into the sump of the machine to suck up the oil and cycle it through the machine. So this is that rear guard. This, again, protects from people coming around the machine from getting hit by this ram, because if this hits you hard enough, you won't know what's coming and it'll be it. But it also helps capture some of the oil. As you can see here, some of this oil that's coming off the side of the machine. It'll hopefully capture that, and it'll filter its way back in and end up dripping back down inside of the main body of the machine. And if we come around front here, and this is what Mike has been working on, is the way wipers. So this is a cover. Underneath here is a big piece of felt. There's another one here on the front of the ram, and there's one similar to on the other side. And again, what that does is it wipes off any chips that might get on the ram, keeps them from going back inside the ways, which would damage the machine, and it also helps maintain the oil.
But barely.
Yeah. It looks like it's trickling. You're good.
Oh, okay. Just in case.
Oh, look at the junk that's coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, we flushed all the residue.
Where's the shop vac?
Pour some more in there.
We should pour
You
just
wanna just do
pure
kerosene?
kerosene at
Yeah,
this
yeah.
point.
There's the kerosene.
Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, we're like gonna overflow here.
Yeah, we're good.
I would cut it out first, though.
Yeah, yeah. So there's not gonna be a whole lot of pressure.
Yeah, no, I know there's not pressure. It's crazy to me how fast this stuff dries.
Yeah.
I mean, it's expensive. It's like $35 for that container.
I wonder what this is gonna do.
Yeah, this worries me.
Showing everybody how it leaks.
We finally got the oil situation sorted, and we're ready to do a first official proper test run. We did start it up earlier before, but we were having problems with the oil pump. So what we were able to do is flush some old oil through it with some kerosene. We got that sucked out, drained, cleaned. We got the proper ISO 46 weight oil in there. We do need to finish priming the pump because we changed the oil filter, but other than that, we're gonna do that, and we're ready to start this up and get it running. Mike was really kind enough to get our way wipers situated. Monica was able to get a couple of the final trim pieces done, and Stefano helped get the tray for the back, and we are all set. So So with that out of the way, we'll go ahead and get this bad boy fired up.
You need an extra set of hands?
The machine's running, but we're only making about 10 PSI of oil pressure. At the end of the day, the filter that I got, which is not factory, is about a 1/16 to an 1/8 inch too long, and the cap can't properly seal. So what we're gonna do is take off the cap and machine a recess so that cap can fully seat to the casting, and we can hopefully build a little bit better oil pressure. So Stefano's gonna machine that over on the blue lathe, and hopefully that'll fix our problem.
I find it interesting.
I mean,
Way to recover the oil.
which means the ram would have to move unless it's so.
Yeah, we just machined the recess in here, indicated the part on the lathe, made sure that it runs through within half a thousand, and then we machined the recess, so now we have space for the filter. And when we close this, it will seal on this O-ring on the perimeter.
It's fairly quiet, to be honest, based on the other ones I've seen, like other machines. Like,
really is
these are
nice.
quiet machines, but yeah, I think it seems healthy.
I think we're gonna have to try it.
I mean, that's what I think.
I just don't think we're ever gonna get that filter houses that fill up with enough oil.
Please, Stefano.
Why?
Everything you say, that's what she said, Jerry.
That's enough, that's enough.
But is that just
Could be a
Well, that's the wipers. They put very tight wipers on it.
Yeah, but it's coming out over the top of the dovetail over there. It's not over here.
just on one, so one axis at a time, it's fine.
I think that's.
No,
I think.
it stopped
No,
even
it's-
on one
it's-
axis. It seems like it's a clocking thing, maybe. No, I guess it's not even that.
Because it's moving the other axis now, right?
It's moving Z. Yeah.
Just put it on the other one, see if we can get it further.
Oh, well, that's easy. Okay. That's really, those teeth don't look damaged. That's good. There's also a chip laying there. I don't know if that's relevant.
So this is an interesting piece of mechanism. This is actually part of the power down feed on the shaper. This is one of those features that's very desirable on a shaper because if you need to cut something down, you need and automate it, you need one of these. Other than that, you have to manually move it down. So if we go over to the machine, I can show you what I mean. So if I just turn the knob, turn this dial, and what that's doing, it's lowering this just a little bit at a time. This mechanism gives us the ability to do that automatically. And it's a little complicated to understand how this works, but it mounts to the side of the machine here. There's this little ramp detail that it might be hard to see that's connected to the side of the machine. And with this being mounted, it goes back and forth with the machine. There's a bearing here on the underside, and when it hits that ramp, it pulls this forward. Well, that causes this rack here to move. That rack is attached to a gear that's inside the head here. That gear is attached to this mechanism here. So every time it moves back, this bearing gets pulled, it pulls the rack, it turns that gear, and then it moves the head down. So I can take automated cuts down sideways and not have to do it by hand. Very desirable in a tool room shaper. The problem that we're having is this rack is not meshing with the gear that's inside of the ram. And we're going to try a few things to see if we can't shim this or adjust it. Part of the problem though that we're having is this is broken, so that's bad. And this hole right here is oversized, so it's actually not clamping on the side of the machine. And we think what's happening is instead of this sitting level, it's like tilted forward a bit. And with it tilted forward a bit, it's not engaging with that gear. So what I need, I'm exaggerating the tilt here, but so what I need to do, or what we need to do, is figure out how we can shim this and put it vertical, or horizontal rather, so that as this rat goes back and forth, it's engaging with the gear. What? These are 3/8.
Had a great time here working with Kyle and the guys. It was real fun to turn wrenches on a piece of history like this Cincinnati Shaper over here. I'm glad I got to see the ram move, and I'm glad that we got the oil pump to build pressure like it's supposed to. And I'm excited to see this thing make some chips. The highlight was finally seeing that oil pump actually put 40 PSI, 30, 35, 40 PSI like it's supposed to. It was touch and go for a while. We weren't really sure if there was an issue with the pump or the filter or any of that. After turning down the cap and making sure it wasn't sucking air, it was a good feeling to see all the oil weeping out of the dovetail ways.
I think this is your bigger problem.
The biggest problem here is the oil, right?
Yeah, all that.
The fact that did we put a level on it to see if there's a level right behind you, see if it's like leaning super hard?
Carpenter's level.
It's 15,000, this side.
Come on, where's your stair at 199? Come on.
All right, well, I'm on the way out. Very disappointed. No chips today. That's all Kyle's fault. See that guy over there? That's his problem. Yeah, he doesn't want to cut any chips today, so yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, hopefully. Well, we found some broken stuff on the down feed, which will need repair, so it's going to be fun. A little bit of wear on the ways that will probably need some attention, but yeah, besides that, I think machine is in great shape. Sounds great, everything works, so yeah.
We're back with day 2 on the Shaper, and I was here late last night about 10:30, dialing in a couple of the oil problems on the machine. Overall, I'm really happy with the progress that we've made so far. We're trying to dial in a little bit of over-oiling, which is never a bad thing, but the problem is the oil is sort of running off the front of the ways. So we did find early this morning there's some channels on the ways that were not being blocked by the way covers. So we're trying to manufacture a couple new way covers that cover that a little bit better, and we're gonna get it fired up and see how it's running. But overall, I'm real excited with how we're doing, and we're just about to continue on.
Oh, that's on clearance.
Is it skipping? Yeah, so maybe I should jam a second one in there. Yeah, it's not even touching it, is it?
Right, for oil. But we're able to move that ram now 15 thousandths side to side, which is way too much.
Which is a lot.
It's a lot.
So it could be partially the taper is bad. So if the taper is bad, then you're always going to have one side be more open than the other.
Right.
And so
could that be wear? Could that actually be wear in the gib that would do that? Especially if this thing spent its life machining in a 15-inch area, you could easily wear down part of the gib.
For sure. All right, we're good, Dean. All right, so what we're trying to figure out right now is the correct setting for the gib. So the way we had it set up initially, we just put it back to factory to get it running, and we're trying to check it on both ends to see if the gib is worn. It is worn, seems to be worn about 5 thousandths from one end to the other, but now we're trying to dial it in. We were starting at about 15 to 20 thousandths of play, and we're trying to get it down to, maybe 1 thousandths or so on one side, which would be the tighter side. So Danny's just adjusting the gib using a pry bar, checking it on both sides, and we're gonna run it for a little bit and kind of go back and forth and get it where we're happy, at least to set it initially. Is it sliding this track?
Yeah. Ready?
Yep. It goes underneath that track. That's just a cover. Drop it down. Drop it down.
Well, it is. Oh, I see what I was doing wrong.
All right, so I backed it out like a half a turn.
All right, you want to try it again?
Yeah.
right, we're at 15, 18 PSI. 22 now. I think it's still rising. What do you think? You want to back it out a little more?
Well, don't we want it to rise? We want some of that pressure so it pushes it out into the...
Right. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know where it goes first, because it's got on the back of the top here. You see, there's like a trough for the oil.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Where does it go?
Yeah. Maybe if you're at 18, you said right now?
18 to 20. Oh, I guess, is that an 8? 15 forward, 20 back. Or vice versa. Goes
But
down.
the book says 20 to 30? Or what did it say?
I don't think the book specifies. The book says similar to an engine oil pressure, which Stefano said would be about 40 at the time, 30, 40, which is true. 30, 40 sounds right. Wrapping it over. It's crazy how easy this moves, right?
Push with your back, not with your legs.
All right, I think we need to turn it to Danny more, maybe. Okay, keep going straight.
3,900 pounds.
All right,
The beauty of bearings.
turn. Okay,
How far is that hand sticking out?
turn. It's good. Keep going straight. I got you on the turn, so.
Oh.
Yep, yep, yep. Push. I'll turn it because I'm pivoting. Okay.
All right. So where do you want this, Kyle?
I don't know.
Should we?
It's probably gonna max like right as soon as we get here. No. There it is. It's maxing right there. See if it falls off that toe. There, you're good.
Now we need to jack up the back.
Which the floor jack probably works in the back because we have huge gap back there. Good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, shit.
Whoa, whoa. Lift that back up.
You're just sitting on your...
Yeah, it's not underneath it enough.
Okay, how do you want to set this up?
Yours is right now,
Yeah.
so that's fine.
Okay.
Just do the same.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll drop it off.
Oh, man.
Ooh.
All right.
Go down. Oh, that was like a rib. Easy.
Wow.
Okay. So we just got the back ones.
All right, so we got the machine on the ground. This is where it's gonna sit for a while. And in about a day and a half of work, we got the machine operating. We got the oil pressure settings right. We got the gibs adjusted. And there's not much left to do besides like make some test cuts. So everything is adjusted within 2000s, which I think is maybe more than what is like factory specified, but for getting it rolling and getting it operational in a day and a half, we're just gonna run it like this, best as, and there's always room for improvements. So from here, I think we'll just run it.
No.
We finally got the machine in place and I'm super excited. We are ready to take our first cuts. Greg has done the liberty of sharpening up a tool bit. He knows a little bit more about the shaper than I do in the tool bit geometry. I went ahead and looked at the manual and sharpened up a couple bits based on that, but we're really just kind of freewheeling it here. We got the vise tightened down, we have it in place, everything is working, and we're ready to give this guy its first test cuts. So without further ado, we're gonna start out with Greg's tool in an Armstrong holder and see what this baby does. Give me your layman's terms version of the adjustments on each of these. Like this, what you're adjusting now would be if you wanted to cut a taper.
This just allows us to rotate this around. So yeah, if I wanted to cut a, say, 15-degree dovetail, right? I could bring this over to 15 degrees or 30 degrees or whatever. And as I feed this down,
it feeds in an angle. Right? So in this case, we want it to feed straight. So 0-ish is fine.
We're not gonna feed at all down.
Right, we're gonna go cross.
We're gonna go cross.
So it doesn't really matter for this.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what, for this particular cut, just as long as the tool's oriented. Can you tighten that?
Yeah. And then explain the clapper.
So the clapper is just a way to, there's two different kind of schools of thought really that I've seen. Some like a rigid clapper, some like them flexible. There are some shapers that actually have an automatic
tool
retractor. And the idea is as your workpiece is going underneath the tool, as it's being drawn back, it's going to want to drag. And the way that the shaper is configured is the table, we can set the table to move left or right, or up and down. In this case, we're going to go left to right, and it moves on the backstroke. We don't want the table to move as it's cutting forward. We want it to move as it's coming back when it's not actually doing any work. And if we did that, this is going to end up hitting the work if it has no place to go. So as it's moving across, this has this little flexibility in it, so it'll pop up out of the way and just drag across the work. Now it can leave some marks, but it's on part of the material that you're going to get rid of anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
How's this stacking up to yours so far?
I think mine's a little bit heftier than this.
Yeah? Can you take these cuts on yours?
Yeah, in water. In the bounce. Now my shaper it actually has a stud in the clapper box with a spring on it. And that spring goes all the way through the clapper box into the tool head. And so when it returns, that spring wants to push it back so it doesn't bounce. Like this one is bouncing, mine doesn't bounce. It stays pressed. So I don't know if that affects. I have the feeling it's just going to do whatever.
Really?
It may not look pretty, but it's going to cut it. There you go. I mean, it's cutting it.
Wow.
That's 450 thousandths. It looks terrible.
Yeah, this tool is not set up for it.
No.
Let's switch to my tool, and I'm curious, like, how it will be different or the same. So this is according to that says a roughing tool, according to the diagram, has this swoop.
With that big swoop?
No, it says a 2-inch radius. I think I did a 2-inch diameter, which is not the same thing, but. How do you think this is gonna do?
I think it's gonna chomp away at a whole bunch of metal. I think it'll do fine. What do you want your step over to be?
10 thousandths. We're just going nice and easy. That's the,
Thousandths. Take this out.
and you can, yeah, I guess we can just wait, right? Yeah, okay. I'm really interested to see, because this is a way different grind than the one that you have. Maybe it'll suck, maybe it'll be good, I don't know. Sounds better, you think?
Maybe.
Does it sound better than the other one, or am I making that up?
Well, it's kind of strange because the chip seems to grow as it goes further out. Watch how small it starts,
Yeah.
thin, and then it gets fatter.
Is that good or
I
bad?
don't know why it's doing that.
Didn't they do that with the last one as well?
But that was 250. That was 2 turns, right?
Yeah, let's just go to 500. It's having no problem with this.
I think this tool is doing fantastic. As a matter of fact, I think it's doing better than the one that
No honing, Greg. I didn't follow the rules, and I also made that tool in 5 minutes.
I think you're getting a better finish.
Matthew saw me. Belt grinder, man.
It doesn't matter how you get it done, as
I
long
know.
as you get it done.
Oh, I know. Now, here's the real test.
Oh, it's starting to get into that.
Yeah, those holes.
Before we go there, I want to look at this finish. Look how beautiful that is.
That's
That
nice.
is freaking gorgeous. That is much better than my tool.
Nice.
Much better.
All I did was I read the manual.
Get a close-up of this, Johnyo. Get in here really close on this.
Yeah, this is nice. Wow.
Look how nice that is. You cannot get a finish like that on a milling machine.
I know.
You can feel this whole ice moving.
A little bit of chatter on the end there.
Yeah, it's chattering for sure.
Not too bad though. That one didn't chatter.
It's respectable.
It's definitely a working. It's definitely getting work done. Yeah, I think it's a little much.
I think so too.
I think the cut was just a little on the heavy side, but that did really well. At least on the other one. You tighten the set screw, right? I should put a T-handle on there or something, you know? Oh, wow. Man, I don't know about you guys, but this was absolutely a crazy video. Couple late nights, but it was completely worth it to bring this machine back to life. Now there's still gonna be more work to do, but we're gonna be doing that in some subsequential videos. But for the most part, the machine is running and we're taking chips. I know there's some key ways that I wanna cut and really put this thing to work. Now I want to take a second and thank everyone who came out individually, because everyone put in a ton of work. Mike Lewis, thank you so much for bringing this vise back to life and just helping out with the machine. Greg, he spent a ton of time late in the day today really helping me figure out the clapper box and really dialing in all the settings there so we could really minimize chatter. Stefano, of course, with the electrical and the oiling, we had a lot of oil issues, so to have another mind on that, that was very helpful. Daniel stayed late last night when everyone left, and me and him were diagnosing some oiling in the knee, and of course his expertise on all the Gibbs, on all the machines was very, very valuable. Landon was out here, he was doing an amazing job replacing the oil lines, cleaning things up, and just has a great attitude in general. Zach, thank you so much for also giving us your brain power on the oiling system. We really had a few challenges and you really helped us out with that. Monica, my wife, she did an excellent job cleaning the rear cover, doing pretty much anything we needed. She brought food, she helped out. She even cleaned up a couple of the toolboxes that have been super dirty for quite some time. Matthew was helping with filming. Johnio helped with filming as well, and Jake with filming as well. With everyone, we had a really nice, healthy crew, and I think we all had a great time, and the end result is pretty much what we can expect. Now, these videos do take a lot of effort to produce, so let me know down below in the comments if you enjoy them, and maybe we'll do more of them in the future. So until next time, we'll see you on the next one.